Hello, LinkedIn. Me again. Thank you for joining us on today's LinkedIn live show. So I've got David Procter. Yeah. In case I'm always worried about folks' names, right? Because I get some people in here, I'm like, that's actually see it. But David Procter here from Sensoteq, and we're going to be talking about all things wireless vibration sensors. But before we get into that, we'll give a big shout out to Bold Mango Media. Andrew, guess what, pat in the back. Amelia is outside. Did you know Amelia's a actual TV star?
Really?
Ah, she is. So we're actually blessed with her company today. So Amelia's hopefully going to come in and give us a thumbs up. Is she out there, Andrew? Yep. Right, okay. So hopefully she's going to give us a thumbs up to say that you can see us and hear us okay. And as we do, David, we give Grow a big shout out. So David and I were in Grow for our breakfast before we came here.
Delicious.
We had a wee toast each. So and then we're actually looking at whether or not we're going to be able to eat these cakes. Thumbs up, thanks Amelia. So I'll go to mine first. The old faithful, the honeymoon slice, and what you got?
Empire biscuit.
Empire biscuit.
Yeah.
Still biggest and best Empire biscuit in the whole of Scotland. Probably the whole of the world, actually, if Gordon's looking. And just before we kind of move on, we were talking to the staff in there, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like we're going to get a couple of them on the show. All right. So that's going to be fun. So we're going to try and get a couple of people to Grow on the show and talk about why they do this. And we're basically just going to get them on and let them talk a lot of nonsense to each other. Because they're a good bunch in there. So yeah. So this show obviously is all about how we think things can help other businesses. So with regards to your products, which you can talk a wee bit more about in a minute, where I think it helps other businesses is it can make sure things don't break down unexpectedly. The reason why we do what we do, the reason why you do what you do. So if there's any businesses out there that's got a pump, motor, fan, compressor, basically anything that rotates or moves that you want to try and capture vibration, stay watching this because Dave is going to tell you how good his stuff is. Right, David, tell us a wee bit about Sensoteq, what you do, the products you've got, and the why. Because you've kind of, I know you weren't there the number one employee, but you were there kind of from the start of the journey. So what made you kind of transition from what you did before into vibration sensors?
Absolutely. So Sensoteq, the elevator pitch that I always use for people is that it's like a smartwatch, but for machinery. It's looking at the data that's coming from that machine, and it's trying to analyze that to actually work out how healthy that machine is, how likely it is to break down, and what part of it is likely to break down. And that's where the likes of Ailsa will come in and provide reports for their customers and give even more advice about how you can go about fixing that, etc. And we've designed these sensors to be wireless, battery powered, and really try to position ourselves to be a real premium offering in the industry. Over breakfast, we were talking about quality and things like that. And how our CTO, particularly, his whole thing is about quality and not compromising. Because it's very easy to compromise today.
No, 100%. And we see it all the time. I think I did a wee video for you guys where we're independent, so we can use any sensor we want.
Mm-hmm.
We use your sensors because of the quality, right? Because of the level of I'd say the level of investment you have, not just in the building of it, but the data acquisition and everything that makes the product what it is. Because there's people out there that are just wanting to, there's a sensor. They don't really care what it does, right? They don't really care what it does. They don't care about the data quality. They don't care anything else because all they're doing is shifting a box and then somebody else's problem. And you guys haven't really been like that at all.
I think part of the reason is we've worked with some very demanding customers, which at the time is always frustrating, but it gets you the best product in the market if you listen to what they're telling you. And you deliver it, and they then validate what it is you're saying. So you've no room to hide, and we like being in that position. You know, we can prove ourselves to be the best.
That's why we're very similar. I mean, I love it when we get a challenge. Because that's where you learn. See, when everything's going great, you don't learn much.
No.
When somebody goes, I don't think that can do that. All right, then give me a wee bit of
Exactly.
time and I'll see if it can do it.
Yeah, far too easy to stick in that comfort zone. You need to be pushing out of that, and then you're developing new features, new products that solve different problems for people. And you asked about where it is we came from. It was about solving real world problems for people. And a lot of us at the start of the business had this, understanding of how to make sensors, how to make wireless battery powered sensors, particularly, and you could go and do anything, but you need to be solving real problems. So,
and I think one of the things, obviously, you guys work closely with the guys at RMS when we first met you. That's how we get introduced. And one of the things that I liked about it was you were surrounding yourself with people who were experts in the vibration, but you guys are experts at that time, were experts in building the sensors, but you had a team of people around about you that were experts in the subject that you're actually monitoring, which I don't see a lot of other companies doing. Because we see sensors all the time that they're built by an electronic person, or you've got a bit of software that's built by an IT person, but they don't really understand what the data is supposed to be telling them.
Exactly. And the RMS story is actually quite interesting. We got Dean over to train us. Shout out to Dean.
Hi, Dean. Hi, Stuart as well. Hi,
Stuart. We wanted to, I think we trained nearly every person in the business up to Cat 1 vibration. And Dean knew nothing about us. We knew not very much about him other than he was the preeminent trainer in the UK for this stuff. And so he came over and he's like, what is it you guys actually do? And we went, we make these sensors. And he's like, right, and they do vibrate. Yeah, okay, very good. And then whenever it came to us designing the next generation, I will say the first generation was a really, really strong product. There was a lot of scope to make it better. And that's where Dean and RMS and Stuart came in and went, this, if you can do this, this and this, you've got something really good here. So it was interesting.
So but you don't you'd ever have stuck with old clamshells?
No, well, for certain applications, you could drive over that original sensor.
100%.
It's not the sort of thing you'd want to be hit with,
Well, definitely. Well, that's what it says. I think we were the first company ever to actually melt one. I remember when we put. I'll not say the site because, but they had that. We put the clamshell ones on. And something wrong with the date on that, goes up to see it and it's basically melted it. These things are indestructible, but
you're one of those customers that likes to push the boundaries.
Not remember it when we first started all that. Holy night, man! I think but do you know something? That's one of the things to see nearly everything that we've used, because we're always pushing the boundaries of what something can do. To see where it can, where its capabilities are, and that's when Darren and people like this, when they were joining the business, like, I mean, we're just trying to come up with new ways of doing everything. Because we're not just doing it in the standard. So because you're going out there and you're going, we're going to do this. But when you do something new, it always comes with challenges. You know yourself, you've been in the development world for a long time. When you're developing a new product or a new solution, it never goes right first time.
Never goes right first time. And the only real way to actually understand if the product's doing what you want it to and what the customer wants it to do is to get it in their hands.
100%.
And that can be as rough and ready as possible. That's what the whole agile development thing is. It's about getting it into the customer's hands, getting the feedback, making those changes as quickly as you can, onto the next cycle, and until the point where you go, okay, now we can release this as a really sturdy product.
And I think that was getting that customer feedback is massive. And again, you only get that if they have it on their kit. Right. So bring the customer into a test setup. They're like, but it's no my kit. You put it on their kit, they'll tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Exactly.
Because it's sitting there and it's supposed to be doing a job, and if it's not doing the job that they want it to, they'll be shying telling you.
Absolutely. Yeah. The really interesting piece is whenever you go to different parts of the world, how they give you feedback or the level of expectation of different things. UK, Ireland, I think we all know what that's like. It's generally quite dead on the money. But you go to certain places, Central Europe and things like that, and it's very much about the numbers, the figures, and they will hold you to anything you tell them. And if you go over to the Middle East, sort of Indonesia, APAC regions, it's very much more about I'm going to test this piece of equipment myself, and I'm going to compare it to what I know, and so that just naturally builds you the best products out there.
No, definitely. And then you sometimes, I used to have it where you go to the Far East and they go, it's brilliant, it's brilliant, it's brilliant, it's brilliant, and then they turn round and they're like, they hate it. Right? They just, when they give you their feedback, well, it was like the whole silent assassin, and you've got this wee ninja behind you that's sitting going, that's telling you everything you want to hear, and then behind you going, right? Because nobody like conflict.
Yeah.
And it is, and obviously, because you're now, how many countries are you working in now?
Oh, I think last year it was 37. We're definitely in the 40s now,
Right.
approaching 50. So
Brilliant.
that's unbelievable. That's good and bad.
Aye. It brings its challenges, but
Oh,
but
yeah.
but the goal always was you had a product that was suitable for the global marketplace.
Yeah,
So go and get the global marketplace.
exactly. And we have a CEO to match as well.
He's sitting there. He's gone. He's already took over the world. You don't need to
Yeah,
worry about that.
yeah.
No, it's the product itself is great, but obviously you guys have tried to make the product suit different industry sectors as well. So we've talked, and we're not going to name some of the other sensors out there, but there are sensors that are out there that, yes, it might be able to do that wee thing, but it's never doing that big thing. And when you look at your sensor technology, that are still, and I'll say this to you, even though you're here just now, but there isn't a one size fits all,
No.
right? And I'll say that all the time, and that's why we use different technologies and bring all these together. But from your sensor, and one of the things that we love about it is it can probably do, if you're looking at vibration alone, it can probably do 80% of the applications out there.
Exactly.
And there is not very many other sensors in the market that I think has got the same.
Yeah.
The same breadth of application.
Yeah, and if that sensor did everything, we wouldn't be developing new products.
Aye, 100%. But because obviously you've got your sensors, they're zone zero. You've obviously got zone gateways. You've got an application there for the kind of mining industry where things are shaking about a lot.
Yeah.
So what is the product line looking like now?
Yeah, so product line is we've got three main sensors. One, and how I always sell it to customers is one that you put on rotating equipment that you don't want to vibrate. That would be our kappa sensor. So that's rotating equipment, pumps, fans, anything with a motor, gearbox, whatever. Then we have our TAW product range, and it's designed to go on rotating equipment that should vibrate. So that's typically mining sector. That's going to be screeners, crushers, feeders, etc. Anything that has this oscillating pattern associated with it. And really very similar data, vibration, temperature, but how we display it for the customer is slightly different in that case. And that all that data is sent up to our cloud, and we've actually developed our own wireless protocol to be able to do that. Really low frequency, works really well in those environments. Then we have a local product which works direct to a tablet called Qi, and it sort of does a hybrid of both of those previous products. And it's a rechargeable battery, so you stick it on, takes the reading, you look at it there, and then you go to the next machine. So
yeah. And because we've not really actually tried much of the kind of second one for the shakers and screens and all that kind of stuff. So we need to get a couple of them off you just to go and try them.
No worries. You're going to twist my arm here for a few samples.
Sounds like it. Sounds well. But actually, I'm surprised you never brought them with you. I think because obviously we do a lot in the energy for waste sector where there's a lot of shaker systems and stuff like that. So it'd be good for us to get a wee shot at them, try them out, and
absolutely. The strength that we really have is bringing all the data back to that single platform, that single cloud platform that allows people to analyze the data. Because once you stick these black circles on the machine, you sort of forget about them, and it's all about the value is in. Then we were talking at breakfast there, it's not just about the data, it's about what are the actions that I need to do on the back of this, what is actually wrong with this machine.
Well, people are putting these technologies on to take away problems and pain, right? And what they want to be able to do is just go like that, right? Now I no longer need to worry about that. I can go into these other 100 things I need to worry about. Somebody else is going to tell me when I need to worry about that, because it's a peace of mind. And we talk to people obviously we had a sales guy joined us, but he was kind of more from a capital goods sales background, and he's like, why does everybody not just do this? This is because it's like an insurance policy. That's what you're selling them. You're selling them an insurance policy to say, right, by the way, this is going to tell you if there's a problem. Yeah, and
the industry is really interesting. One of our good colleagues that we work with in the Republic of Ireland, Mark Linsky, again, another big supporter of ours, and love having dinner with him whenever he's up in Belfast. Take him to this fantastic Indian restaurant every time. He loves it. But he basically, what we identified was there's not a lot of people like Mark in this world, and by that I mean vibration analysts who actually are worth their salt.
Yes.
Thankfully, Ailsa are there. We talk about RMS and a lot of our partners across the globe. We try and pick the good ones, but they don't have the time to go around doing the root-based measurement. That's the low-value part of vibration analysis. So what we're trying to do is, if we can give you that data whilst you're sitting at your desk, then you can do the high-value piece. You can do the analysis, doing the reports to the customers. That's what they're actually paying you for. And we've been doing some work in the Caribbean, and these pump stations out in the middle of nowhere, the pumps don't run that often, and they're going, I don't really know if it's worthwhile putting these condition monitoring sensors on this machine. And I go, that's exactly the application. Something's not running, because if you're going to send someone out to assess it, how do you know the machine's going to be running? So it's better to put one of these sensors on there. It'll tell you the data. You don't even need to worry.
And you're right what you're saying about Mark, as we spoke about breakfast as well. The only reason we started doing vibration analysis is because we kind of got our fingers bumped when we were using subcontractors to do it on our behalf. Because it's a thing that's been going on. If you ask anybody that's out there, do you do condition monitoring? And I used to have this when we were doing PD and stuff like that. We go into clients and say, oh, do you do condition monitoring? Yeah. Oh, what do you do? Vibration analysis. It's been the thing that's been done for years. So you're going, can you add a lot of value to that? And then you realise quite quickly that there's not that many people that actually, and I'm trying not to be too bad here, but are not doing it that well. There's a lot of people out there that are Cat 1, Cat 2, sometimes Cat 2 qualified, that they don't understand any of the kit that they're actually looking at. And I think that's a major thing, whether you're developing a product or you're trying to analyse information. See, if you don't know what that's coming from, it's pointless to a certain extent.
Exactly. You have to have that base knowledge. Like anything nowadays, you need that base knowledge. And probably the way the world's going is some of that base knowledge is more accessible through your LLMs and things like that. But then you haven't actually learned it.
No.
So where there's still going to be for decades the people are needed on the ground who have that knowledge. I don't know if that'll ever be truly replaced.
No. What you're saying, so we obviously, when you're looking at our business kind of strapline, you'd maybe call it now, so we're turning into more of a data management business. So we're looking at how best to get the data. That's either us training their staff up or putting a sensor on it. Then what we're then doing is taking that information and turning that information into a story that can then to be displayed to the customer that can make decisions on the back of.
Exactly.
And the world is, I mean, I talk data daft, right? Every single thing is decided by some sort of data. But what you need is the data to be in a position, in a format that you can actually tell the story from it. Because you look at vibration data as an example, it's just hundreds of squiggly lines. Right?
Yeah.
So if you don't know what these squiggly lines mean, you can't really do anything on the back of it. You need somebody to take what those squiggly lines are and put into something that's easy enough for you or a finance director, whoever it is, to understand that they can make a decision on the back of it. And that's where a good analyst comes in, because they take that and turn it into a story.
Exactly. And this is where we, as Sensoteq, a company, have always focused our values are on, it's not about, pushing AI. And we talked earlier about we never really use the term AI. We internally use the word decision support, and that is very purposeful. It's to help the person who's actually looking at the data get to the information as quickly as possible. But they're always, and we do provide some real deep insights, as you've seen in the platform with we have this machine learning tool called Diagnostics. But so we do use AI, or what you might consider to be AI these days. But it's all about decision support, presenting the evidence to people so they can then make a really informed decision, and teach people who maybe aren't as informed, the data's there presented in that way.
And the thing is, it's again, what you're trying to do is use tools to display. We talk about it quite a lot. It's when you think back in the olden days, but when you think back, everything was a oscilloscope, this, and you this, that, and the next thing. You're embedding a lot of that knowledge into a product to a certain extent. But it's not to say you still don't need to have a good enough understanding to be able to take that simplified version of something that's probably very complex and use it for good.
Yeah, and you can never overcomplicate these things anyway, because if people don't understand how it works, it's really difficult for them to be able to use the system effectively.
100%.
And all these systems that are online do cloud platforms. The alarming, I think, is always the key thing there.
Aye.
If you make the alarming too complicated, people don't actually understand why it's alarming.
Yes, 100%.
And if they don't understand, then they can either ignore it,
Yep.
or they'll get really, really worried. But then they'll react to every single bit of information coming in.
Aye.
So you have to. It's that balance between
and it's a hard
intelligence.
balance. It's a hard balance, and we used to see all the time. Whereas that's reset. That thing's tripped. All right, reset. Right, because that's just what they think they should do. Right, without understanding what the actual consequence of that is, and it's a similar philosophy there, where that's you need to have a good enough understanding of what the actual problem is, and then what the data is telling you to do against it.
Yeah.
Some kind of on the back of what you said there. I can remember I used to use a thermal camera. Used a thermal camera hundreds of times. Right. Then I went and when I started this business, I went and get thermal trained, and realised how better not say a bad word. Vic will go nuts at me. How rubbish at it I am, because you just thought it was point and go.
Yeah.
Right, and then you realise there's actually a lot more to it than just point and go. There's a lot of things you need to take into consideration, and there's so many things. That's the same as well. You're getting just now, so you've got these elite cameras that are coming out.
Yeah.
Right, everybody's buying them, but I've seen at least 10 people that are running about with one of these and hasn't got a clue on how to actually use it properly. Because what you've done is you've simplified the complexity out of it, but people are not actually still training themselves up on the philosophy behind it.
Yeah.
And that's the concern you've got about a lot of sensors.
Yeah.
Right. So there's people that are selling sensors out there to people that are saying, right, that's now telling you this. Right. Is it right? I don't know. That's what the sensors tell me.
Yeah.
Right, okay, well, who's going to be confirming whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing to do on the back of that? Oh, and there's not, because a lot of the companies out there, they're just there to shift boxes, and then they leave the clients to it.
Exactly, and that's that whole evidence piece for us is really key. We show this is what this is what we're telling you it should look like, or what the theoretical version of this is, and here's the real data you can compare, overlay on. So we try and provide all those tools where possible.
And well, if it helps with selling your sensors, so we have obviously put your sensors through some strenuous testing.
Very much so.
As you know, and so we've done it next to other sensors, compared the data against other sensors. We've compared it against using a handheld analyzer and stuff like that. So we can confirm that your sensors are very, very, very good.
Yep.
Right. And the data quality and the data acquisition you get is very good.
Yep.
Again, you were talking about where you see yourself, the product in the market. And obviously we have tried sensors out that range from 100 quid to 1,500 quid for a sensor. And the price point that yours are in at versus the capability of them, you're definitely up there.
Yeah.
Right. When you look at the return on investment and the value add that the sensors give, they're definitely up there against any of them out there. Which is the reason why, as I say, we are comfortable getting into a client and saying, I think that's the right sensor for you. As I say, we have went, and there's been obviously less probably critical applications where you're going, do you know what, I wouldn't even bother putting this on, because in our opinion that's a premium. Right, it's not a premium kind of price, and it's the 1,500 quid thing, but it's a premium sensor for a lower cost, and that's just I wouldn't put that on there. Just go and put that 150 quid one and then just leave them to it.
Oh, absolutely. And again, it comes back to that comes down from the top of our business all the way down to the bottom. I remember sitting in the lab with our CTO, and we were validating the actual raw vibration signal going into it that we can excite the sensors with in the lab, and then validating it with a handheld tool. And you can go, well, black and white, you can see what the quality of the data is. And we actually delayed the launch of that Kappa product by about 6 months to ensure the accuracy of it. You were really keen for it. But that was the right decision to make.
100%. No, 100%. Even with pain in the arses like me going, you said this was going to be ready, you said this was going to be ready, you said this, because and that's the problem with your product business. You're giving people a wee tickle and going, oh, wait till you see this new thing that's coming out, and then you're going, when's it coming out? When's it coming out? When's it coming out? Because that the thing with the clamshell was the original Kappa was just the size of it. The physical size of it.
Yeah, getting it on those old existing machines, just sometimes there just wasn't the space, and then you're having to stick it, additional stuff on top of it. So
Yeah.
it's
But you could have just done what a lot of the other sensor companies do and say, just stick it in the middle of your motor, it'll be fine.
goodness, it's yeah. Again, that we sort of
I
Mark.
bet you Mark comments
I
in a
bet
few.
Mark, yes, he does. Yeah,
Mark, just so you know, right, if you're watching this, you got in just before me on that recent post. I sent it to Alan and he's like, he says, Mark's already sent it to me. But this is, again, though, see from whether it's a sensor manufacturer, a technology provider, or like us, where you're trying to provide a good service, that's the type of stuff that really, really pees you off, because you've got companies and customers and people investing in these technologies, right? That then somebody's went to their boss and went, we need some sort of online condition monitoring. I've seen these things from company ABC, and this is what they've done. Then company ABC come and tell them, and they say, "Aye, you just stick it in the middle of your motor, right?" And then the motor fails. So the guy or the woman who's just went and asked for this money to invest in this forward-thinking approach is now getting their ass kicked, right? Because they've just spent all this money and it's not done the job it's supposed to do.
And if you look at who's really selling those ones that typically go in the middle, it's normally the motor manufacturers. So
we had one. I'll no say what motor manufacturer, but it was all because people are always coming to us saying, we want you to represent us, we want you to sell a sensor, we want you to this, we want you to that. So we'd take them all and we'll go and try them. With a motor manufacturer, they came to us and went, "Oh, our sensor's amazing, blah blah blah," and then they sent us over the document, and it was going in the middle of the machine, the middle of the motor, and I'm like, I turned and said to him, "How's that work?" Oh, and it transient this and blah blah blah, and basically just a load of crap. And I said, "Do you actually realise the difference between measuring a bearing and measuring the inside of the machine?" "Oh, but we do it through flux and this that." It's absolute load of nonsense. So we're like, all right, we'll take it, try it. Our right, it's crap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but you sometimes have to prove these things to yourself, because you never know. It could be the next best thing in the world, but it never is.
But I wonder in those companies, like, who signs that off? Who is it that went, "Do you want that? That's the way to do that." Again, that's lack of feedback. They're just not getting that feedback in there. They're not thinking about what the actual problem is that they're trying to solve. And if you're not there understanding that, you're never going to, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be vibration. It's any product.
Of course it is.
If you're not solving the problem, no one's going to, it won't sell.
And if you're not taking feedback on the similar to you were saying, obviously you're doing a lot of stuff at the beginning where you were taking customer feedback and saying, if it could do this, 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 and this, it'd be great. See, if you're not taking that on, your product's never going to be successful, because your client's telling you what they need it to do.
Yeah.
We had it with one where it was actually like a PLC controls company, and somebody asked us to have a chat with them, and they came to us and said, "Oh yeah, we're going to be doing vibration sensors and this, that, and the next thing." So we said, "Right, okay, we'll have a wee chat with you." So they showed us a sensor and told us what it did and everything else like that. So it was like a MEMS sensor that went up to, I think it went up to 5 kilohertz or whatever. So the sensor itself and the technology in it was probably 10 years old, right? The sensor itself was massive, right? And so we sat down and I went, "Listen, I'm not trying to be negative about your thing here." I says, "But you are miles away," right? Miles away from where the market is. So they had the kind of CTO, product owner, whatever it is, on the call. Says, you're just miles away anyway. And he's like, "Oh, but we're going to do this, we're going to do that." I said, "See, if you want my advice, stick to doing PLCs, because you're now trying to take away from what your actual core business is, because you're trying to jump on the bandwagon because condition monitoring is becoming such a big thing. But that's not what yous are."
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't understand enough about this, because what you've built just now is basically crap.
Yeah.
Right? So focus on what you're good at.
Exactly. It's like whenever Amazon tried to get into condition monitoring,
Aye,
you're
aye.
going, "Amazon, do you know?" Now they'll turn their hand to anything they think they can, but
their system, they don't even sell it anymore.
they don't sell it anymore because it was because they didn't understand what the problem was that they were trying to solve.
Aye.
It just always comes back to that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And another one, because we're talking about the AI bit, because we're the same as you, we don't really talk about AI. But I don't know if I've told you this story. So did I tell you when we went and tried out this, it was like £1,400 for a sensor. So it was a sensor, so it was a beacon, right? So it has a beacon with a sensor coming onto it, right? You put the sensor on the bearing, and it's fully AI'd, and it basically does everything, including make your tea. All right, brilliant. That's exactly what we need. So we said, no, well, listen, we'll try it. And again, the market material was class. The whole story was class. We then went and installed it, an EPR on a pedestal bearing that we knew was rattling its nuts off.
Mm.
And so obviously we left it there for a few weeks, phoned up the guy, says, listen, can we get a Teams meeting? Because we want to really see what the data's telling us from this sensor. She's like, no bother. So it was me, Kane, the kind of sales guy, and then another couple of people, and the CTO was there. So they're sitting there talking about it, and they're like, the sensors fell off. Don't think so. No, it's definitely fell off. There's no way it's fell off. So all right then, so just to make sure don't make a clown of yourself. So Kane phoned the guy for the site, said, do us a favour, go and double check that sensor's still stuck on. And the guy's like, it is. He's like, but just double check for me before we make ourselves look stupid. Come back, no, it's on. Guy says it's impossible. He says, basically what I'm telling, this is the guy saying, we're telling you that the sensor's just sitting and it's hitting off of it. Like, no, that's what the bearing's doing. So he's like, no, he says it would have exploded by now. Like, do you actually know anything about equipment? Do you know anything about machines? Do you know anything about bearings? So this is a £1,400 sensor that the guy that designed it doesn't even understand the what you probably call the parameters of how a bearing properly operates.
Yeah. The big problem that we have in this industry is people hear IoT or IoT, sometimes the industrial Internet of Things, and they go, we can do the wireless bit, we can do this bit. So, and it is by far vibration condition monitoring is one of the biggest, it is the growth area for IoT. And so everyone just piles in and tries to, and unless they really understand the problem, work with the customers and look at those specific use cases, they're not getting anywhere.
Nah. And we basically turned around and tried to give them some advice.
Yeah.
And they turned around and went, as if you just don't know what you're talking about. Like, all right then, well, your product's going to fail and it's falling its ass. But what will happen is they will sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
Right? And then they will have, I don't know how liable people will be, but they will have a lot of unhappy customers.
Yeah.
Because it is not doing what it says. Because again, what they've done is they've built their AI into it. So if the computer says no, the computer says no, who's training the computer?
Yeah, and that it shows you the power of marketing, really.
100%.
It can really, we sort of pride ourselves on word of mouth, and I think you're quite similar,
So that's it, even really marketing, but we don't tell a story. What do you mean? It's no marketing. I'm marketing. but this isn't marketing our product, if you know what I mean, and our services. But we don't really do a huge amount of that. And that's what somebody said to us. We don't shout loud enough about the good things. And you guys were similar at the beginning. Obviously, I think Vic will shout about it now.
Oh, aye, yeah.
But so you were the same as us. It was people were going, I think that's a great product.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But obviously, what's your marketing strategy going forward? Because you are now a global business.
Now where we are is, right, we've got the product market fit. That really, really works for us. And it's about making sure that we're leveraging the industries where we do really well in.
Yeah.
Now, we're in everything from oil and gas, pharmaceutical, manufacturing, automotive, food and beverage. I say there's very few markets that we haven't actually made our way into. Mining would be another big one for us, but oil and gas, pharmaceutical, mining, where they require very robust, reliable products that have life cycle, longevity there of product and the support as well in regions. That's really where we're going after. That's why we have the EX ratings like ATEX, Haslock, ICEX and things like that, but a really high quality sensor to back it up.
Yeah.
And so that's our marketing is. Let's make sure that we get that message across the really robust.
You're focusing on sectors that need quality over quantity or whatever you want to say. Where it's not just they don't mind paying a premium, right, to make sure they get
But again, there's not really a premium with our product. It's a premium product, but we still have to be competitive in that marketplace.
Yeah. And you definitely are.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. There's industries. A couple of industries that we've, like the food and bev and stuff like that. We don't do a huge amount in food and bev. Yes, distilleries. Yes, all this kind of stuff. But see, like a biscuit factory, for example. So we get asked to go down and look at a biscuit factory. And I'm like, there's absolutely no point in putting
Mm.
technology on this. I said, because that motor will cost you 400 quid to change it.
Yeah.
I said, the sensor that I would be telling you to put on that will cost you more than that.
Yeah.
I said, so the answer is no. But then you've got somebody that'll go and say, put these 100 quid sensors all over it, blah, 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 which is the wrong thing to do.
It is,
Right?
yeah.
Because the time that it's going to take them, yes, it's a bit of critical kit, but it'll take them 2 hours to change it, and it costs 400 quid. Why would you ever go and even put a technology on that?
Exactly.
But there's people out there that will tell you to put a technology on it because they just want to sell you shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
I mean,
just, it's frustrating.
Those industries, they're very low margins as well. It's only like
Yeah.
3% or something like that. So, you know, their additional budget for those things. But then the flip side of that is, well, if your margin's so tight, you need to make sure production keeps going.
You can't afford
and actually,
for it not to.
there is an argument, but it has to be realistic as well.
Yeah. We, as I say, we've probably went different from most people. We've started off in the really big things, and we're now working our way down to smaller machines. Because before we were mainly focused on HV stuff. So we've talked about when we first started the business, it was focused on high voltage, critical bits of kit that no a lot of other people could do.
Yeah.
But then people go, oh, can you do this for us? Can you do that for us? Can you do the next thing? You just have to evolve to suit what the client's needs are.
Exactly. And that's why we started off in the automotive industry because some of our backgrounds were in automotive design, and what that forces you, automotive design is really simple. The quality has to be exceptionally high because you can't have parts failing on a car, even though everyone thinks that's that's actually not the way the automotive OEMs work. They want high quality parts. They can do with that what they want, but the cost has to be, really, really cost effective, or else it's a no-goer. And they do that across the entire automotive supply chain. So even their factories, the stuff that makes the cars or trucks or whatever has to be really high quality, but has to be cost effective. And so that's where we started, really, really high quality. And it meant then that we were able to expand out both up and down from those industries.
And that was obviously, when I first spoke to you guys, that was something that became quite clear quite quickly, was we're not here to try and do it and be the cheapest. We're here to get the best product out there, but we still want to get it at the most affordable price that you can.
Exactly.
That's the thing. At the end of the day, you're in business to whatever your purpose is, but you still need to make money.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to be able to do it that you can get enough customers, but also that you can make money. So you're trying to get that sweet spot where you've still got a market there that wants to work with you, but at the same time you can still do it and put money in the bottom part of the bank as well.
Yeah. And I think the other part as well is you need to think about the people using the product, who are actually the ones on the ground. And a lot of the time it's going to be an expert like yourselves.
Yeah.
But some of the time it's people on the floor. They even want to see something simple like, what's the running speed of my machine? Or why does this machine not do that? And I think you need to be empathetic to their needs and how they want information presented to them.
It's not. It's back to you're not. What's this statement I said? So, see if you go to some of these bigger, what you class as OEMs, right? You're getting a box that is a shape, and if it doesn't, if you wanted a cylinder that's a different shape, makes no difference to them.
Yeah.
You'll get the box and it's that shape, and that's it, because that's what we sell.
Yeah.
Whereas you're trying to say, right, okay, we've got this product, but we can actually make it become what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And get you the information that you want, because we're listening to you, not just telling you what we want you to hear.
Yeah, and it's funny because I talk about empathy, and I think that's really important in a product role, and even anyone who engages with customers, you need to have that empathy to really be able to listen and understand what it is they're saying. The people on the ground, they want the machines to be working well.
100%.
Because one, they probably have bonuses that are tied to the effectiveness and production output and things like that. I learned that, and I can't believe I'm bringing this up, but whenever I was 16, I worked in a screw boxing factory, and whenever they had this automatic machine counter that would filter these big bags of screws into these boxes, right? And whenever it broke, you had to manually count these, or you had to count out 200 on the scale, and then you'd be filling these out. I think I got paid $2.50 an hour or something like that. So if that machine didn't work, I was not happy.
Shocking. But the people in the shop floor are exactly the same.
Yeah.
They do that. You're right in what you're saying there is those things that you're monitoring or we're monitoring. they're there to make something happen.
Yes.
They're not there because they look good. Right? And
I can attest to that.
So can I. Listen, I can't remember the last time I seen a nice looking pump. And if we get anybody from Weirs or Salzer or anything like that watching, your pumps are rank. They're not there because they look pretty. But these things are there to do a job.
Yeah.
Every time they're not doing a job, somebody's getting paid somewhere.
Exactly.
So if our role in this, and your role is to supply the data to us, and our role is then sometimes to tell that data to someone else to try and make sure that doesn't happen, then who can't be happy?
And everybody knows the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that's how I explain to my wife what it is that we do.
I've stopped trying to explain to my missus what we do. I'm like, we save clients money and we use cutting edge. It's like, aye, all right, bored. Aye, that's what she's like. It's like, aye, okay, yeah, I've heard it all before. Aye, boring.
Yeah.
Does your wife, does she like what you do? Does she understand it? Does she
appreciates that it helps pay the mortgage. But no, my wife's in medicine, and she's diagnosed as ADHD. Actually, Jimmy, you're screwed.
If you're watching this, you don't need to worry about it. Everybody's already told me.
But no, she, I really embrace IoT. So our house is filled to the brim with sensors and smart lights. And don't get me wrong, when it works, she loves it, and she thinks it's great that we step off our bed and the lights come on it. It's lovely. But in the kitchen, sometimes it's like a bloody disco, and she's like, "What have you done here? I just want, where's the on-off switch for these lights?" So,
probably maybe about 5 minutes. We'll keep going for a bit. The newest technology that's in my house, right? It's a robotic Hoover.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's called Clean Latifah. Right? And I was never really into this thing. So we were over in Sweden in Heather's sister's house, and she had one. I'm like, you absolute snobby. Right? That's shocking. So I'm sitting there, so I'm supposed to be on holiday. I'm sitting there at the kitchen table working away in there. This thing hoovering around about me. I went, do you know what? I quite like that. And then Heather was saying to me, he says, oh, I would like one of them. So, class. So that's what I got for her Christmas, that robotic hoover. But this thing is awesome, right? Honestly, you got one?
I love ours. My wife hates it because she only hates it because the toddler and the dog hate it.
Right,
so then it can't come out as much as it doesn't actually do its job. And they only work if they come out regularly and stop the dust and whatever from building up,
Well, ours comes, Cleanie comes out at like 11 o'clock at night. We have to just keep all the doors open and that. But my dogs don't mind it. Right? See the normal Hoover. They go ballistic. So I've got 5 of them. So as soon as one of them starts, they all start. And they go absolutely ballistic. This thing's just hoovering about them and they're not even born their ass.
Yeah.
Right? Just walk over it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
So but again, that's where, see, if I look back 2 or 3 years ago, I would never even have thought about that.
Yeah.
I went, nah, there'll be crap, there'll not be this, there'll not be that. That Cleanie, because the missus, she's like, saw the lines in the carpet and all that jazz. Aye, Cleanie can do all that. So she's she was probably the most pleased Christmas present I've ever got her. which is so sad.
You got your Mrs. A Hoover for Christmas.
Aye, a Hoover. And I managed to get on the Black Friday sale as well. So I got it cheaper.
You're a brave man.
You know what it's like? You get to a stage in your life where you're just buying crap.
Yeah.
I'm like to her, what do you want? She went, electric Hoover. I'm like, you actual beauty, right? So and then that's what I was saying to her. I went, she says, you better watch that Cleanie can't learn how to cook the dinners and do the washing. She's a
Well, I got my wife I don't know, like a grow thing for growing like herbs in the kitchen, So it's actually it's tomato and chili and stuff in it. And she went, "You've just given me another thing to keep alive, other than the kids and the dog." And
well, you don't need to tell me that. So I was getting it 2 weeks ago where, no, maybe a wee bit longer than that. So I've been working a lot. You know what it's like. You're working constantly, blah blah blah. It's like, do you know that I just feel like a single mum with 5 kids and 5 dogs and blah blah blah. Right, okay, I'll take a wee step back and I'll help it a wee bit, and then within about a day or so, she's like, sorry, just go back to your work, you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I've got the fortunate thing that obviously I annoy her enough that she's no, she didn't like it when I'm working too much, and then when I come back in and I'm there for a wee while, I annoy her enough that she's happy to go back.
There's a happy medium there for sure. Yeah, I've experienced that.
No, brilliant, mate. Listen, is there anything else you want to talk about while we're still here?
Do you know what? I could monologue on anything, but I'm more than happy. You know, that was a nice chat.
But that's what it is. This is all it is. It's just a wee blather.
Yeah.
And obviously we did speak about scripts and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work. I would be, as you see, the ADHD brain would be very quickly going ping, 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 ping,
Yeah.
ping, ping.
Yeah. I'm sure Vic will message me afterwards and tell me what I've not said. But
so it's his fault. So if he's not said it right, that we agreed, it's his fault. It's not mine. I've been trying to just keep him on track. No, but I think I would like to finish off with, if there is people out there that are looking at trying to kind of make the decision about going down the route of wireless vibration sensors, because there is, you know yourself, there's lots of people right now that are going, well, I won't, right? Look, what's the challenges, what's the benefits, all that kind of stuff. Every single company that we've gave your sensors to, I'm now looking at scaling that. We've spoken about some of the oil platforms and stuff like that we're dealing with. It started off as a proof of value with 6 sensors. Now they're up to 60 sensors.
Yeah.
We've got another 4 or 5 similar onshore ones as well. So we've got lots of examples of these. It's taking that first jump and that first leap into going, I'm going to change the way that we're doing things.
Yeah. Exactly. And we've tried to build it so that customers can join us at any stage. You know, they can either go thousands of sensors, fill their entire site, or they can start off, you know, get a pilot on there, see actually how they feel, learn what this technology can do for them, and then making sure that they can either use our software, use our partners to do the service for them, or bring the data into their own platform. Loads of these big customers have their own data lakes and things like that nowadays. So we try and support wherever. We don't want to punish our customers for working with us. We want to work with them.
Good. So anybody that's sitting there on the cusp of going, well, I won't, my answer would be 100% go for it. And that's not just because David makes them and we sell them and we support them, but I think from an overall risk mitigation element to running your operations, I think it is a massive, massive step forward.
Yeah.
Because as I say, obviously we've got sites that we go around and we take data every month, once a month, and it's great.
Yeah.
But the difference between trying to actually anticipate something going wrong when you've got data every, how many seconds do you take data?
30 seconds roughly. Yeah.
So every 30 seconds makes life a lot easier than actually taking it once a month.
Yeah. And I would say if you want to test your product as hard as it can be tested, Ilse are your guys.
Give it to us and try. Can you remember actually the first conversation that we had?
Yeah, 2021. I think it was.
And can you remember what I said to you? I said, I'll tell you something, give us a shot of it, and if I can't break it, I'll tell everybody about it. Right? And we give it a real good go.
But you did melt one.
I did melt one. We did break a couple of things. But listen, again, it's all the part of the learning process.
Yeah.
So no, listen, that was brilliant, David.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Food.
No worries. It's just let's hope we can actually make it way home and not just sit. Maybe go for a wee snooze.
Yeah.
a wee 10-minute snooze before you have to go back to the airport and I have to get back home with work. Right, okay. Vic, I hope we did all right for you. But listen, anybody that's still watching just now, thank you very much. What we end up doing is a lot of people seem to be Sunday viewing for a lot of folk for some reason. So if you're a Sunday viewer, thank you very much for watching us. Hopefully you got some insight from David. If anybody is looking for wireless sensors, these guys are as good as anyone out there. Get in touch with them, or even better, just get in touch with us and then we'll sell you them and we'll hopefully make some money off it.
Thanks very much.
Right, thank you. Thanks everybody.
Bye.
Bye.